Welcome to SkillBuilder video number 5, Job Task Planning and Organizing. Do you sometimes feel overwhelmed by the amount of information coming your way? Do you feel overwhelmed by the tasks required of you at work? If so, stay tuned. This video will provide you with some very practical tips and strategies to help you with your job task planning and organizing. The 9 workplace essential skills. Number 1, reading text. 2, document use. 3, numeracy. 4, writing. 5, working with others. 6, oral communication. 7, digital technologies. 8, continuous learning. And 9, thinking. For day-to-day life, no one thinking skill is more important than job task planning and organizing. Stress, anxiety, and pressure is often due to not being able to find things, missing appointments, being late, etc. How many accidents have been caused because people are late, anxious, and not paying attention to what they're doing? Scheduling, planning, and organizing add to not just the efficiency, but also the safety at work and at home. Have you ever been angry with someone at work who didn't get their work done on time? Job task planning and organizing will mitigate conflict in the workplace as well. These are only 2 examples, but I hope they're enough to convince you of how important this skill is. How much time do you schedule into your day to organize and plan? When things get busy, is it organizing or planning that goes first? Do you ever get stressed over not being able to find something or not being able to get things done in a timely manner? Do you clean out your email inbox only when it's telling you that it's too full? Do you organize your files only when you are in an urgent need of finding something? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then practicing the skill of job task planning and organizing is going to help you become more accurate and effective at work. The need to be good at job task planning and organizing has become even more important in the last 5 years. Computers, email, cell phones, texting, shared folders, real-time online project management software, etc. has increased the pace with which we work. As we work, email constantly pops up reminding us that there's still more work to do. How do we keep up? How do we decide what to do and when? What is important and what is not? We all need help and strategies to manage all these decisions. How do we start to cope with all these decisions that we have to make every day? First, let's look at the kinds of decisions we have to make each day and what makes one more difficult than another. Complexity. What makes one task harder than another? Or what makes one job harder than another when thinking about job task planning and organizing? These are factors to consider when thinking about the work you do. Is job task planning and organizing a key component to your job? All these factors help to make the job task planning and organizing you do each day more complex. Is there a variety in work activities? Is the task sequence provided to or determined by you? Are priorities provided to or determined by you? Does the day's work plan get disrupted? Does your work plan have to be integrated with the work plans of others? Are there a number of sources for work assignments? Does the order of those tasks sequenced by you make a difference to total efficiency? Let's look at one task everyone has to do at work now. Managing email and using your email and calendar to get work done on time. MS Outlook will be the example used in this video because of its prevalence in the workplace, but it is still only one choice. Email has become the key method of communication at work. No one has taken training on how to manage their inbox, sent items, deleted items, and archives. Things keep coming into our inboxes. We have to automatically sort them in terms of priority, flag the ones we want to get back to, and schedule meetings and tasks into our calendar. In our job descriptions, managing our email and calendar is never listed as a top priority, but this has become the complaint of many workers. I'm swamped with email. God, my inbox is over 100. Email is taking over my life. I can't send any more because my inbox is full. Now think about it. How much thought have you put into managing your email and storing information generally? How do you organize your archive folders? Do you use the subject line of your messages to help sort things into folders? Do you have a naming convention for your email folders and the folders on your computer or cloud server? We're going to talk with someone whose work demands a very high level of job task planning and organizing. And we'll learn some of the strategies that she uses to manage her email and calendars.
Primarily my job is to support the president and CEO, so that means anything from helping her with her scheduling, calendaring, answering emails on her behalf, setting up meetings, and day-to-day essentially assisting the president in her role. So email plays a large part of that. We receive a ton of email to our several accounts that we have set up. Predominantly, it is business email that we use to communicate with the government, with other public entities, other schools, individuals within the organization as well. We could spend up to 80% of our day just working on email, reading, writing, replying, filing. But we try to keep our email usage to about 40% of the day so that we don't become overrun with correspondence. I have a somewhat complicated filing system that I was able to engineer myself. Just after being in my role for a few months, I was able to categorize my email based on the types of correspondence I was receiving and sending. So the primary thing that I use to categorize my email is the category color codes, which I use in Outlook. I believe you can use up to about 24 different colors. So let's say, for example, I select pale yellow as my to-do. So when I have an email that comes in with an action, I will tag it with the yellow code so that I know it's something for me to do. Alternately, you might have color codes for needs a reply, waiting for information, forward to so-and-so, internal meeting, external meeting. There's any number of ways that you could categorize your email for the uses that you need. The second thing I do is for filing email. We have a date system that we use to file our email when we create folders in Outlook. We do year, so for example 2014, month, April would be 04, and let's say the date is 07. I will make a folder with the date. I will name the folder with the event's name, or possibly if I don't know the event's name because it's in planning, I'll say, for May event in Edmonton, or for celebrating Student Futures Awards. I will file my emails in that folder, and the great thing about Outlook folders is you can have them in order quite easily. So by using the date as your naming system, you end up with everything in sequential order in your email. In our office, the Outlook calendar is really complementary to the email because they work so well together. I use my color coding from the emails and I forward them into the appointments in the calendar, so they transfer very nicely. They might not all be the same, but I do get to use the colors as well. So if I have emails about an external meeting and I've color coded them as green, I can use that same green color to block the meeting in the calendar. Another great recommendation that I have is to sync your Outlook calendar to your mobile devices, whether that is a mobile phone or a tablet of some sort, iPad or other. It's really great to be able to take your calendar with you. This is especially great if you're traveling from meeting to meeting and you need to know, directions or how much travel time you need to get to the next place. And if you don't have time to go back to your office and check your calendar, then it's not a problem. This is also great when you're doing calendaring for somebody else. Another great thing about syncing your calendar to your mobile device is that you get your reminders. So if you've set a 15-minute reminder before a meeting that lets you know, you have to be somewhere, you need travel time, you will get that little pinging noise on your phone or your tablet, which tells you, you have something coming up. So that's particularly useful when you're not sitting at your desk and the reminders you've set, will only go off at your computer. You can get bogged down in just reading emails, answering emails, going back and forth with people over email and deciding what to do. So my best tip for not getting bogged down, in a large amount of email is to set up a time where you can deal with your email, whether it's first thing in the morning or maybe at the end of the day. It is best to set aside time to deal with email. Of course, you will always get urgent emails that you need to deal with right away, and a lot of times they'll have that cute little exclamation mark from the Outlook, so you know they're urgent. I use a few hours in the morning and a few hours in the afternoon to deal with my emails. I try to do the majority of my correspondence match with my calendaring, because when you're booking several meetings at once, you are doing a lot of work with the calendar, and you need to go back and forth and hold dates. So I do recommend to just put time aside for your email. Now have it open, maybe have it scrolling, but try to avoid looking at it every 3 minutes because it will suck the time out of your day. You will end up doing nothing else but looking at it. I think there is sort of a reasonable expectation with email that when someone sends you something, they are not expecting you to get back to them right that instant. They know that you may not be at your desk. They know that you may be in other meetings. It does feel like a pressure to answer emails right away, but you do have to sort of put that feeling of pressure and obligation aside so that you can complete other tasks in your day. If you do need a response right away, don't wait on the email. Don't be frustrated by the fact that you haven't received a response right away. Allow time for people to respond to you and to answer your emails, just like you would request the time from them to, respond to their emails. You're not going to do it instantly, and neither are they in most cases, so you have to understand that email is a part-time communication. It's something that people check a few times a day, not all the time, and if it is urgent, I recommend just using the telephone. So one of my biggest email pet peeves would be reply all. Sometimes that information is pertinent and you do want to have the reply. Other times, someone is replying to one person in the group. They didn't need to reply to the entire group. And I find that your inbox can get quite cluttered with these reply all emails that you don't necessarily need to be sending or need to be receiving. Try to be conscientious about hitting reply all when you are replying to an email. My second pet peeve would probably be when you receive email messages and someone has specifically said reply to kaylin@bowvalleycollege.ca. I've asked for people to reply to that email, but instead they hit reply to the email I've sent them. So a lot of times when you're setting up events, you'll set up a special email reply or a special address for something, and that's where you want that business correspondence to go. A third pet peeve of mine would be just the mass amount of email you can receive in a day. I think a lot of times people undervalue personal communication, and if your cubicle mate is only a few feet away, it might be worthwhile to get up and go talk to them in person as opposed to sending them an email. I think sometimes we can overuse email, and it can really take the personal connection out of the workplace, and it can also create a time-consuming bubble where, if you go see them at their desk, maybe you would handle the equivalent of 3 or 4 emails all in one conversation, as opposed to the time it would take you to type 3 or 4 emails and then track the replies to each one separately. One of my tips for email usage, which is just a handy and quick tip, would be if you are forwarding an email and you don't really need to add information to the email that you're forwarding, a great thing to do is just put what you need to ask in the subject line. So maybe you've received a appointment request and you want to forward it to someone to say, hey, are you interested in this? You don't need to forward the email and then write, hi so-and-so, here's all the details for the event. I was really looking forward to going. Do you want to go too? It might just be simple enough to put in the subject line, are you interested in attending this with me? And hitting the send button. The person on the other end will see the subject line, they'll scroll down and they'll look at the actual event details. This saves you time retyping information that's already in the email.
Steps for planning work tasks. Number 1, set a goal. Using this example, we would set the goal of creating a system to organize and manage our email. Number 2, plan. Write a list of current challenges. Collect information from others on how they do it. Do some research on the internet to get ideas on how to manage emails. Use Outlook, Outlook calendars, etc. Learn to use any new tools you will need to achieve your goal. Number 3, clean up your workspace. Declutter, sort, organize. Fight your inner hoarder. Try not to keep every last note. Purge all the items that are out of date. Continually purge to keep items and folders relevant and easy to scan to find information. Number 4, manage your time. Think about how much time each task will take and if you will need more help to achieve this. And always remember to factor in the planning and organizing time as well. Planning up front will save you countless hours during the project. Number 5, focus and get the work done. Filing, sorting, organizing, and plodding through documentation isn't always the most fun, but if you plan to do this each day, say at the beginning and the end of your day, stick to the routine. After 2 weeks, it'll become a habit. This will be a habit that will allow you to stay organized and on task. So the purpose of this video was twofold. The first was to show you how important job task planning and organizing really is. It's a skill that we don't learn in school, but it's crucial to our success in the workplace. And the second one was to give you some helpful tips and strategies to get you started and hopefully to help you to become more successful in the workplace.